right? They think that like a successful record is like the moment that you make it, and none of them like there won't ever be them situations. You don't ever make it.
Bridges burn, lessons need to be learned. Been down in the trenches, so all the respect I earn. But life turns, friends and the enemies, the ones that you love start giving.
Hey, who do you think winning between Drake and Kendrick? It's going up on social media. Don't trip, I got your back, bro.
You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro.
All right, look, get with me after the...
You really want to know how I feel about that shit?
I want to know. Yeah.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Creative Mike the Rapper, and welcome to the pilot episode of the Best Rapper Alive show. And what you just heard was Vince Staples on stage getting asked by a fan, so who do you think is winning between Kendrick Lamar and Drake? And I expected for a moment he thought he was going to get an answer like, oh, well, when Drake said this or when Kendrick said that. And instead, what Vince Staples did is took a moment to enlighten the audience and the rest of us at large about maybe that's not the right question to be asking in 2024. Who do we think is winning a beef between two superstar millionaire black rappers? So yeah, welcome to the Best Rapper Alive show. Like I said, this is the pilot episode. And what is the Best Rapper Alive show? Where we're going to discuss any and everything that has to do with hip hop, the culture, and the community. With that said, we're going to get back into it. And I'm going to play this Vince Staples clip and give you guys some of my commentary.
Hey, who you think winning between Drake and Kendrick? It's going up on social media. Don't trip, I got your back, bro.
You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro.
All right, look, get with me after the...
You really want to know how I feel about that shit?
Feel? I want to know.
Yeah. I think, so I'm signed to Universal, right?
Yeah.
I've been signed to Universal since I was 17. I haven't got a back end. That means when you turn in an album, they give you payment. I haven't got a back end since 2017, 18. So I done been on the same record label for 13 years, so to say. That record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other, which means how we was kids, you got Rockefeller, you got Def Jam, you got all these things. None of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments. Most of those people is us, people of color that come from hip-hop and R&B and these other things, right? Then you got record labels opening up IPOs. You got record labels destroying their relationships with TikTok, Spotify, things that pay out artists because they want to start their own shit. So then we getting priced out of our contracts. We getting priced out of our imprints. There are no labels basically that are incentivized to sign black music, and it's happening in front of our eyes. And while Taylor Swift is fighting for people to be able to have streaming money, niggas is on the internet arguing with each other about some rap shit. So that's how I feel about it, honestly. Neighbors is on the internet.
Language.
About
I appreciate keeping it real.
So I think, personally, I think we better than that. I think we deserve better than that because we've been saying for decades that we want people to respect black music and black art and black people. And I think for that to happen, we got to respect ourselves. And they don't make it easy for us, but we got to try to work a little bit harder at that.
Yeah.
Yo, did y'all listen to what Vince Staples just said? So look, man, he said at a time where record labels are consolidating, where record labels are taking on IPOs, which are initial public offerings, turning them into larger and larger consolidated music groups. They're squeezing all the black artists, all the black heads of marketing. Everyone's being pushed to the side, okay? And whether or not you agree with his language, Vince said something very clearly. He said, Taylor Swift is fighting for artists to recoup more of their revenue via streaming. And neighbors are on the internet arguing about a rap beef. He said, we're better than this. And quite frankly, look, I agree. Yeah, I share the sentiment. I share the feeling that black culture is playing itself. It's allowing itself to be played. And like, we see it happening right in front of us. And yet it's like everyone is consumed in it. And I've been talking to my friends, and I've been talking to some of my business colleagues about it. And I use the metaphor of like how we act like black people when we're around each other. Maybe just because we're loud and aggressive towards each other doesn't actually mean that there's any animosity. And so sometimes from the outside looking in, you could kind of mistake the way that black people kind of act. Sometimes we could be loudy and rambunctious, but typically that's the signs and indicators of us having a good time. So I'm always for defending black culture, but this beef, like, it started feeling very different for me. It started feeling like there are two multi-millionaire black men who essentially make a shit ton of money for white media. And those entities have taken a hold of black culture and released a set of songs back and forth. I mean, this is Kendrick Lamar we're talking about here. This is supposed to be the embodiment of modern day, what I'm gonna call intelligent rap that's still hardcore, that's still with the culture. This is supposed to be like who's going to usher in the next 50 years of hip hop. And it's supposed to be Drake, right? Which is, you know, I mean, you can have your opinions on Drake. I like Drake. Been a huge fan, really since Take Care, So Far Gone. I mean, if you heard Tuscan Leather before, there's really no way you could be a Drake fan. Haven't really got into Drake stuff after he got too much in, like, lately into all the moody stuff and rapping about all his feelings and stuff. But either way, my point being is, like, these are icons. These are icons in the black community. We're watching generational talent beef with each other, and like black culture is celebrating it. And then, so I use that metaphor of us being loud with each other, celebrating, and maybe being misinterpreted for that on the outside. But I don't, when I look at this, if I'm trying to look at this with a critical eye, I'm just like, yo, black people look fucking stupid. Like if I'm an alien, I gave this example to my boys the other day. If I'm an alien and I come down to earth, and there's a lot of shit going. There's a genocide happening in Gaza right now. Okay. So I'm not trying to make it seem as though this rap beef between Kendrick and Drake and J. Cole and whoever they benefactors are, like, I'm not saying that this is bigger than everything that's happening on the planet, right? You got folks living in abject poverty. There's a lot happening on the globe that needs to be discussed. But if I was an alien, right, and set all that aside, that's my point. Set all the real bullshit aside for a second, and just get on the internet and like look at what's important and look at who it's important to. First, if I happen to touch down anytime around when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, I'd be like, okay, it's interesting. That's interesting. And maybe I wouldn't draw a negative opinion solely on the culture and the skin color. If you were to like take that as one of your initial experiences and then you fast forward to this rap beef, by and large, and I hope none of y'all take offense to this because I'm going to include myself in this, right? If you watch a bunch of poor ass black people sit on the internet and argue back and forth which multimillionaire is beefing with each other the hardest and which one is winning the beef, which one is showing mostly that our culture doesn't have a way of collaborating with each other, but only to like beef and war at each other, I go, yeah, them people look like some fucking idiots. Especially when you add on top of that, the way that these people came to power was through music. The same industry that brought us the greatness of a Kendrick Lamar and the greatness of a Drake and a Cole and so many others is the same industry that is willing to like funnel money and dump fuel on the fire when we start to act ignorant and silly in front of the culture and destroy ourselves. So either way, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna play this Vince Staples video one more time for y'all and break it down and give you some of my commentary.
Hey, who you think winning between Drake and Kendrick? It's going up on social media. Don't trip, I got your back, bro.
You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro.
All right, look, get with me after the...
You really want to know how I feel about that shit?
I want to know, yeah.
All right, so just right there, when my dude in the crowd asked the question, Vince's first answer was, "You don't really want to know." And I tend to take people at face value. If they say something, they typically mean it. And he said you don't want to know, and I think he said it for a reason because I think he understood that if a person is going to ask a question, yo, who's winning the beef between Kendrick and Drake, then like obviously they're invested in this beef, this rap beef, this black dance of male violence happening over vocal tracks and beats in a hip hop studio. Either way, let's keep going.
I think, so I'm signed to Universal, right?
Yeah.
I've been signed to Universal since I was 17. I haven't got a back end. That means when you turn in an album, they give you payment. I haven't got a back end since 2017, 18. So I done been on the same record label for 13 years, so to say. That record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other, which means how we was kids, you got Rockefeller, you got Def Jam, you got all these things. None of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments. Most of those.
All right, so let's just pause right there. Because like the question wasn't about Universal Music and how long Vince Staples has been signed. But if you notice that, like, you got to think about this artist with a long and celebrated career. When he was asked, what do you think about a rap beef? The first thing he started talking about was his financial security and how his art as a black male MC was not being compensated financially. And so just, you got to think about that. He was asked a question about a rap beef, and he basically came right back with, yeah, we're not making any money. And I was just like, if that is going over your head or under or through your ears, you just need to like break yourself out of whatever fantasy land you live in and understand that these are real people. This is these are real humans. This is real life. And all the bullshit you see on social media is that it's entertainment. Wu-Tang, the dumb are mostly intrigued by the drum. And that's what's happening here, right? So Vince takes it to an economic statement. He talks about his paycheck, but he also talks about all the labels that you would have known as a young person, how they no longer exist. And the people who worked at those labels, especially the black and brown people, have been turned into glorified A&Rs, which means go find us new neighbors, go find us new neighbors to tap dance. So they could be 5 years from now once we make them semi-famous. But we'll keep going.
Those people is us, people of color that come from hip hop and R&B and these other things, right? Then you got record labels opening up IPOs. You got record labels destroying their relationships with TikTok, Spotify, things that pay out artists because they want to start their own shit. So then we getting priced out of our contracts. We getting priced out of our imprints. There are no labels basically that are incentivized to sign black music.
Did you hear, Vince? There are no labels incentivized to sign black music. Y'all might not be hearing what this man is saying. He's saying that at a time where neighbors are on the internet arguing with each other about who's winning the beef, we're essentially killing the cow by willing to go tap dance on stage for these fools. We become the very people that have to tap dance. Let's keep going.
It's happening in front of our eyes, and while Taylor Swift is fighting for people to be able to have streaming money, niggas is on the internet arguing with each other about some rap shit. So that's how I feel about it, honestly.
And then he goes, he bring my girl up, T Swizzy, right? T Swizzy, white, global superstar, vilified and demonized by everybody. But he makes a great point. She's fighting for the betterment of artists, for the just and fair compensation. This is what she uses her platform for. Meanwhile, a guy I used to really respect, Kendrick Lamar, who's fucking absolutely embarrassing. I don't give a fuck about his songs, first of all. He's absolutely embarrassing himself by even dipping so low as to, Kendrick Lamar, come on, bro, you've been signed to a record label being taken care of since you was like 15 years old. You in a beef? With who? Why? Like, what? How do you become a husband and a father and say, yeah, let me go spend all my credibility with all my fans over all of this decade or so that I've been making great hip hop music. Let me turn that into some nigga shit, some neighbor stuff. Nigga shit, neighbor stuff. That's I gotta clean up my vocals, clean up my vocabulary. But it's from some nigga shit. It don't make no sense. T Swizzy, global superstar, fighting for the betterment of artists. Kendrick Lamar and Drake, our melanated brothers, they want beef. They want beef. What's beef? Beef, what's beef?
Neighbors is on the
Language, Vince. Language.
About
Nah, I appreciate you keeping it real.
So I think, personally, I think we better than that. I think we deserve better than that because we've been saying for decades that we want people to respect black music and black art and black people. And I think for that to happen, we got to respect ourselves. And they don't make it easy for us, but we got to try to work a little bit harder at that.
Yeah.
So look, Vince ends up with the whole, hey, we got to respect ourselves and, you know, they don't make it easy, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go back to being this alien who came from, I don't know which quadrant of whatever universe. And they went, man, and I'm not just, trust me, y'all, I'm not trying to single us out, but I'm black. So I'm not about to make a lot of commentary on white culture. I'm not white. It's like very little that happens in white culture like affects me other than how it affects all of society. So we're talking black culture, black music. So I'm going in on black. So I'm talking about me and the aliens coming down and they looking at this dumb shit we doing on the internet. And then they looking at me like, so this is how you are. You guys like to create pseudo beefs with each other and then go make songs and posture at each other about who's the realest and who's the illest. Shit whack, yo. This shit whack. This why hip hop falling off. This is dumb shit. Go make some fucking music to uplift and elevate the culture. How about y'all do that instead of beefing? I mean, what's beef, bro? This ain't the 90s, bro. Y'all niggas is not from the bottom. Like y'all not from where it's real. None of y'all are living in a lifestyle where you got to deal with conflict and confrontation every day. I mean, what does Drizzy got to deal with? Like, does he even schedule the maintenance for his fleet of Mercedes-Benz? I mean, like, what does Kendrick have to do? He's supposed to be home being a daddy to your kid, and you got time to beef with Drake, a global pop star? You supposed to be the illest nigga in hip hop. That's my thoughts, y'all. So look, it's the Best Rapper Alive pilot episode. Just want to break down some of my thoughts. And I thought that Vince Staples did a really good job answering the question because obviously the question was trying to get him to participate in this neighborly discussion when instead he decided, no, it's better for me to take a stand on some principles. And that's something that really is kind of lacking in hip hop. So yeah, you guys got any questions, comments? You think the stuff that I'm saying is messed up? Should I stop using the N word and call us all neighbors? I don't know, comment below. Look, like and subscribe. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the channel, Dope Coffee. Thank you guys for supporting us, and we're going to keep this thing moving and moving as we go further and further into the conversation and break down what exactly is the best rapper alive.
Taste means everything, and that's what we provide to the very last drop. That's Dope Coffee. Shop www.realdope.coffee. Ones that you love start giving out different energy between you and me. I'd rather have nothing in my pocket than $1 million, but I can't sleep. But dreams ain't cheap. They put all these blocks in your way.
It's dark and the road is long. Throw on your favorite Coltrane record. You're focused now. Try Tanzania Peaberry. Only at www.realdope.coffee.